I'm Brad from TV Girl.
I'm George Clanton from George Clanton.
And we're doing What's in My Bag for our new record, Fauxllennium.
At Amoeba Records in Hollywood.
I'm going to start from the top. My true north, the Velvet Underground, of course. I picked this one in particular. This is Loaded.
Who loves the sun?
This is actually the special alternate version with all the demos and stuff, which is pretty cool. So like it has Sweet Jane with the bridge that was cut out in the final version, which is pretty nice. They should have kept that.
Wine and roses seem to whisper to him, oh, baby, where's your smile?
The lore on this one was famously they told Lou Reed that it had to be loaded with hits. And that's what I came to George with when I pitched this project. I was like, enough of this slumming it in the underground. Let's just load this bad boy and let's have a couple hits and make $1 million.
Look at us now.
Just like the Velvet Underground, it didn't quite work, at least not yet, but we'll get there.
Still selling to this day, though. Mm-hmm. That's us.
Mm-hmm. And it's just a great album. It has some of the most iconic songs.
Despite all amputation, she could dance to the rock and roll station, and it was alright.
What about the Say a Word for Jim? Oh Sweet Nothing.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
So even though he was trying to sell out, they still came up with one of their finest records, I'd say.
Oh, sweet nothing. Ooh, you ain't got nothing at all. Now talk to me.
My first pick, this is my true north. This might be my favorite album of all time. Definitely, I listen to it the most. This is a Seal. Seal. This is self-titled. A little confusing because he has 2 self-titled albums, at least 2. And this is the second one.
Why must we dream in metaphors? We're trying to hold on to something we couldn't understand.
This does have Kiss from a Rose on it, so you probably know that from the Batman soundtrack. As a contrarian, that's my least favorite song. This has to be one of the best albums of all time, and I think that people who think that they're cool, like me and Brad and stuff, like Brad won't even listen to this. So I really think that people who think that they're really cool and they only listen to punk rock and stuff like that and stuff that like their parents don't like should really give this a chance if they haven't yet, because the album is absolutely incredible from front to back.
I may not know what you're going through, but time is the space between me and you.
It's really hard to pick a favorite song, but I gotta tell you, they're all so good. Joni Mitchell's on the album, but she's not credited on the back.
If I could, if I could.
Can you talk about your little Seal keepsake, or is that on the hush hush?
Yeah, I can talk about it, but you'll have to edit it out.
Oh.
As such a big Seal fan, I can't really talk about how I got my hands on it, but I have the wedding cake topper from Seal and Heidi Klum's wedding cake in my house under glass in our recording studio. So that's kind of like the only thing that I have on display.
It's a bobblehead, right?
It's the bobbleheads.
Yeah.
We had that looking over us the entire time we were recording the album. So yeah, pretty special thing. I guess you could put that in there, and I don't know that I can go to jail for having it. I didn't do anything illegal to get it.
Bring it on.
I'm gonna have to give big ups to X-Cetra. This is a new reissue from the new Marrow group. It's a bizarro girl group from the early 2000s. These 4 preteen girls doing sort of their Spice Girls impression over these bizarre acid house beats that this German guy cooked up. And somehow they got together, and it's just sort of an unholy combination. It's very bizarre. I found this one, I showed it to George, and then of course we ended up sampling it for one of the songs on our album, Summer 2000. Ours is Summer 2000 Baby. For legal reasons, there's a Summer 2000. Ours is Summer 2000 Baby.
Let's go party, oh, let's go crazy, oh. Summer 2000, baby, let's go completely crazy. Don't be shy, just jump on in and let the party begin.
We actually ended up meeting Aiden. She's doing a documentary. She had a career in show business after this, and she's doing a
Still
documentary about the group. We got to chit-chat with all the girls over Zoom, which was pretty fun. It looks beautiful. It turned out really nice. I want to see what it looks like on the inside.
Yeah, funnily enough, I make records for a living, and I know that this holographic backing is it adds $5 to the pressing cost.
And the pink glow vinyl, that
at
can't be cheap.
$28, that's a pretty good value.
Yeah, not too shabby. Doing good work, Numero Group.
You intended that I wasn't there. Was it there?
This is called Screamadelica by Primal Scream. You gotta love the font, love the album art. I think that this is probably my second favorite album cover of all time. Brad and I, we really love this music, these songs. And that's kind of part of our inspiration for thinking that maybe we could make some music together that would be fun and out of our what we usually do, which at this point in our careers, making music that sounds like our regular music is kind of painful and torturous to continue to do. So to do something that's more fun, look at how much more fun this looks than this. So it was a lot of fun to sort of steal all the ideas on this album and see if we can make them.
So yeah, originally we were like, we should do sort of a Manchester thing. We should do like a Stone Roses, Happy Mondays, Primal Scream thing. But those are like some of the most classic, iconic records of all. There's a lot of pressure on it. So I pitched it this way. I said, we don't need to be as good as those guys. We just need to be as good as the Soup Dragons, sort of the second tier Manchester band, which they had some pretty good tunes.
Gotta slow things down, I'm in the start again, get you now, then run far away.
$9.99.
And it just needs to be as good as that. It doesn't need to be a new Screamadelica. It just needs to be, the Hang 10 EP.
But look at those gentlemen. They got theirs.
This could be us. Shout out Soup Dragons.
Let's waste some time and you'll be mine.
Hiroshi Satoh, Aqua. Look how beautiful. Brad, join me on this one. Look how beautiful this is.
Aesthetic.
Now, the first thing that I did when I came in here as a white guy from YouTube, I went over to the city pop section, found this excellent album. There was a whole bunch of these records over there, so Amoeba knows.
What was the holy grail you were maybe hoping for was in there?
Hiroshi Satoh, Awakening. But I'll tell you what, this one's nothing to sneeze at. When your friends come over, you can show them the Japanese record and you go, what I like to do is they pick that up and they go, huh, what's this? And I go, you don't know that one? I don't really know any of the song names, but it's one of those that you put on.
Can't Buy Me Love, huh?
Let it play through, and it's just a vibe. It's always a vibe. It calms me down when I have a big anxiety attack.
I'm going to circle back to my magnetic north, we'll call it. This is the Beastie Boys. One of my favorite groups, but this album in particular is special to me and George because the Sony variety mic.
yeah.
And we were talking about how we needed to grit up the vocals, and I kept mentioning the Beastie Boys, how they use a special, secret karaoke mic.
Yeah, now that we're like pretty successful and have a whole lot of money, it was like no big deal to spend $300 on the toy microphone. And when we put our voices on that, it really stunk them up in the best way.
Paul's Boutique was probably the big one for me, but as time goes on, I feel like this might be my favorite one. It's just sort of them letting loose. You can just see they're just kicking back, having fun in the studio, just jamming.
Simply handheld is the style I go. Never rock the mic with the pantyhose and step on my ear goggles and I'm ready to go. Cause at the boards it's the man they call him Mario.
I don't know what this is, but I gotta say, when I was looking through the Japanese records, this caught my eye for some reason. Something tells me it's going to be really good. Do you think that this is how she performed? It's just absolutely an incredible look. And then on the back, even better, after a night long of performing excellent music, just relaxing on the back. You never know what you're going to get in Amoeba Records, but I have to say, if you can show this on YouTube, I can't wait to see what this sounds like.
Man, I just went for the big hitters. So I'm gonna pull out Sublime. Robbin the Hood. It fascinates me, the vinyl industry right now, that this is the audiophile double LP vinyl. This was just such a drug-addled, weird album to follow up their first one.
Pull over, there's a reason why my soul's unsound.
You know, we tried to sort of cultivate a drugged out image, but this is what an album that is really deep in the dark depths of drug addiction sounds like, and it just fascinates me that this gets a double LP. It's full of just weird things like there's 3 tracks that are 10 minutes long that have a schizophrenic mental patient just ranting.
I made you up. You didn't make me up. You got it backwards. You know who you are? You're a fucking semantic blockage.
I'm a huge Sublime fan, and even this one was rough for me to get into as a child. But now it's like sort of, I guess, the hip one to like if you're a Sublime fan. It's
Kind
like
of the Metal
underground
Machine
favorite.
music of Long Beach.
Well put, well put.
What a great pick I've got here. Jessica Pratt. Quiet Signs. A lot of great songs. Hear My Love?
Your love had it in that tone, but it's my own. Feel my love.
I like to gravitate towards things that don't sound anything like my music, which makes it difficult to get into a lot of new music. By golly, I found a new artist. This isn't her newest record, but I did find this one. I think that this one is my favorite so far. New music that doesn't sound anything like my music. In fact, it sounds very, very old. And something that she does that no one does anymore is a lot of mid-range in these warm vocals.
Music lives in the middle. That's what George always says.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. Great album. I'm so glad to have found it today.
I know it's over now. I didn't notice you call.
This is US Girls, my favorite contemporary band, I'd say. This is their best album, A Poem Unlimited.
I do what I want, and I do what I like. Live my own time to lie about what no one saw.
What can I say? She's just the best. She's my favorite. I just saw Meg and the Boys in New York doing a stripped down set, and every time I see them, it's a different lineup, and it's always just a really compelling. She's just an amazing performer. Knows how to captivate a room.
We all got when we go.
Pearly Gates, I'm going to say that's my favorite one. The lyrics are just amazing. It's sort of the story of a woman getting denied from the pearly gates in heaven because she refuses to sleep with St. Peter and then goes to hell. And it's just a funny concept for a song, and it jams too.
Never be safe, even if you're in the gates. Give it up, you're just a next
Here's one. Another one of my favorite bands here, Saint Etienne. You can always put on Saint Etienne around the George Clanton house and just relax, just have a great time.
There's a way to go. Honey, I know now I'm calling you on the phone.
Big reason why I love TV Girl so much. He denies it, but I definitely feel like TV Girl is, they would say, listens to Saint Etienne once type band, none of the TV Girl fans really know about it. They will now if they watch this video.
And I don't deny it. I love Saint Etienne, so.
Yeah, but this one, they kind of grew out of their TV Girl phase and evolved. Take note. And I was looking for Fox Space Alpha to talk about it, but you know what? I've really worn that one out around the house, and this one, my wife and I are listening to even more. Wood Cabin, such a vibe.
Never write a love song, never write a trip out, never write a ballad, got to get a grip now.
George is going to hate this one, so I had to get the Malcolm McLaren Sex Pistols poster because George is always razzing me and roasting me for trying to be too punk rock, and he never listened to punk rock and hates punk rock. Whenever I have a crazy idea that's too punk rock for me, he says, "Oh, is Malcolm McLaren in the room?"
I got hold of these young kids who were really fans of all the characters that were coming into my shop, and they sort of adopted me as somebody who could give them the path to nirvana and pop stardom, as it were.
So I had to get, the poster from his failed movie, which is sort of his power play against Johnny Rotten for control of the band, and I don't think it ever came out. It's just a cool poster, and I love it. And I'm going to hang this one up, just to spite George.
Yeah, some failure is selling the poster for it to this day.
Okay, bye-bye. Hey! Who killed that bee? Who killed that bee?
Well, if you need to know anything about George Clanton, it's that he loves Avril Lavigne.
You don't know me, don't ignore me, you don't want me there, you just shut me out.
This is her first album. Got a lot of hits on it, but there's so many more Avril albums out there with big, big hits.
Really?
And yeah. Avril, as of today, is the 280th biggest band in the world according to Spotify, and TV Girl is 274. So TV Girl has overtaken Avril Lavigne. Must be nice, but she's still not returning their phone calls.
If you're trying to turn me into someone else, it's easy to see I'm not down with that. I'm not nobody's fool.
There's a lot of great songs on here. Some of them, maybe a little
Do you
juvenile.
really know all these songs?
Oh,
so
yeah.
So you could hum the tune to Too Much to Ask?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
But really what I'd like to celebrate is I'm With You. Big hit for a reason. Big hits never die. You can tell why Avril is an international superstar.
It's a damn cold night. Trying to figure out this life.
Thank you so much, guys.
Sure.
We really appreciate you coming in today.
Wow, a lot of chemistry, huh?
Yes. I like the razzing that you give each other. It's
You
good.
roast me, but I love it.
Yeehaw!